be fine, you were right. Okay? Dark bleatings, everyone. Sorry if you can hear fireworks going off outside. There's really nothing I can do about it on this misty night. So, as a lot of you will know, I went to the World Fantasy Convention in Brighton last weekend, and it was my first time in Brighton, my first World Convention, World Fantasy Convention. They merged the two, and I did try really hard not to buy like any books. There was one that I was allowed to buy, and then one when I got there I was like, oh, I have to get that now that I'm here, but I will explain as I go on. And I've split all of my things into categories. I thought that you might like to see this latest book haul. So you'd think that all of these new books and everything, I'd look at them and feel a bit like, oh, I'll never get to them, but I've been really enjoying reading again recently. Not that I ever like stopped enjoying reading, but I am particularly enjoying just the act of reading right now. I've been reading very fast since I came home. So I travelled to Brighton on the Wednesday, but on Tuesday Eric LaRocca was on a book tour in a town fairly local to me. So me and my friend Tim, who very kindly drove, went to see Eric LaRocca, and his event was being hosted by the author Keith Rosson, who I'm sure lots of you will know. So that was really cool for me because I've interviewed Eric before. I've never spoken to Keith, but I got to meet the both of them. And it was just really lovely to spend a little bit of time with everyone after the event as well. I also got to meet, by surprise because she was just in attendance, Polly Hall, who wrote Mer, a novel that I absolutely loved this year. So that was just a lovely surprise as well. So I thought I'd just lump my Eric LaRocca haul in with all of this. So first up, now you've seen me talk about this before, and you probably already know I have two copies of this. I've got my Titan ARC, which is my first ever Titan ARC of anything, and also I had a lovely limited hardback that came with the Abominable Book Club. But I did think, I know that times are a little tough and a lot of people that would love to be in attendance at things like that couldn't go and things like that, so I did also pick up a copy at the event, and it's signed, and I just thought that maybe I could just gift this to one of you. So if anyone would like this, please put in the comments that you like it, or message me through Happy Goat Horror on Instagram, or you can message me directly on Facebook, or you can email me. Obviously I just have this copy, so whichever message I see first, but you can have this. I will post it to you, and you can, you know, keep it for yourself, or give it to someone for Christmas, or whatever you want to do. I just really love the book. I wanted to support Eric on the tour, which I did. I mean, I didn't have to buy a third copy of this book, but yeah, I just thought that might be nice for someone that maybe couldn't make it, that wanted to be there. So that's, I bought this to give to one of you guys, so just let me know if you'd like it. And if more than one person messages me about that, I'm really sorry to the people that don't get it. It's literally just got to be first come first served. But books that I didn't have copies of from Eric, I did also buy and get signed, of course. So I've got Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke, and I also picked up The Trees Grew Because I Bled There, which is short stories, and this one is short stories as well, unless I'm hideously mistaken. Ooh, part one, part two. Well, I'm actually not sure then. I read a lot of Eric's shorts, and obviously I've read a couple of his longer works, but these I didn't have. So I'm really looking forward to getting to those bad boys right there. And then I also got this sample of, he has now announced this, an upcoming book called Wretch that I don't know anything about. I did take this, but I might have a little peruse of it, but I don't like to know anything about books when I go in, as you know, so I might not look at it. And then from Keith Rosson, I also got Coffin Moon, a novel, signed by Keith, of course, and I'm really excited about this because Keith described this as good old horrible vampires, and if there's one thing I'm a fan of, it's good old horrible vampires. This just sounded awesome to me, because I love vampire stories, and don't get me wrong, I don't mind, you know, sparkly vampires, romantic vampires, sexy vampires, but my favourite kind really is, you know, 30 Days of Night, or Dracula on his most savage night kind of vampire. So I'm really, really excited to read this. And yeah, I've read lots of shorts by Keith, but not a full-length novel. So this is my first one. He was lovely, by the way. I know that you all have heard me talk about how lovely Eric LaRocca is a couple of times, but Keith was very lovely as well. And also their swag was good. I got this cool bag. This is from Keith Rosson's Coffin Moon, and at Worldcon I took this with me to use as my book bag, and then I saw somebody with this t-shirt, which was super cool as well. And then I also got these cool little badges. So this is from, sorry, they're in the plastic and I don't want to take them out yet, but this is the skull from the Keith Rosson design. And then this one is Welcome to Burnt Sparrow, which is from Eric LaRocca's We Are Always Tender with Our Dead. That is the first in the Burnt Sparrow trilogy. So yeah, Burnt Sparrow is a place and he's setting a couple of stories there. So yeah, so that was the Eric LaRocca and Keith Rosson book tour. Now, World FantasyCon. By the way, if you're one of the people that I met there for the first time, it was so lovely to meet you. If you are a friend that I've known through some form of social media, maybe here, and I got to meet you for the first time, hello Keith. That was lovely. And old friends that I have seen many times and always hang out with. I really, really love you guys. Those events really mean a lot to me. They're kind of like my social events for the year. I'm a little bit of a hermit, and the horror author gang I feel so comfortable with. Like, it really is like a family away from family. So really, really delighted to meet so many people. I got to talk to Lee Murray in person, which was beautiful because she came all the way from New Zealand, and a bunch of people from the US and everything. It was really, really cool. So I'm going to show you what I got in the goodie bag first. There's always a goodie bag at FantasyCon. So this is Bantam Horror 2026. And if I'm not mistaken, this is like little samples of various books. Sorry about the fireworks. This is, yeah, it's little samples of various works that are coming out next year. So just like a little heads up. So there is... oh, they haven't got the authors attached to the names. But yeah, that's just kind of a little sample pack of things. And then in my goodie bag, I got the Alchemy Press book of Pulp Heroes 2, which I will be looking forward to. This is an anthology from Alchemy Press, obviously. And so that's my friend Peter runs this press, and this is edited by Mike Chin. So that's going to be good. I'm looking forward to getting to that. And I also got Ginger Dread, Dark Goddess Chronicles Book 2 by Leonard and Anne-Marie Wilson. Now, I have not read the first one. I don't know if you need to read the first one, but I do like the title of Ginger Dread, so I will look it up, because maybe if I can read this as a standalone, I might just go ahead without getting the first one, because it's a nice short little read. And then I actually didn't get this in my goodie bag, but a lovely lady who I'm about to tell you about overheard me saying that I'm a horror person, and she got this in her goodie bag, and she doesn't like horror, so she just gave it to me. So this is Symbiote by Michael Nyack, and it says, it's apparently on, oh, this came out in February this year, and it says, Contagion meets The Walking Dead in this new sci-fi thriller where a biological threat ravages scientists and military personnel at the South Pole. So maybe it's just a horrible disease, maybe it's zombies, but either way, it sounds potentially apocalyptic, and that is right up my street. So thank you to Diana, who gave me this book. Now, speaking of Diana Stella Wireworks, astronomy educator and designer of wire jewellery with a cosmic twist. I will put her Facebook and Instagram in the description, because I bought jewellery from her, and she had such beautiful jewellery, and she was the only person selling jewellery there that, to my knowledge. There was also a cool pen store, but I have so many pens, so I didn't buy anything from Pen Man. But yes, I bought, she hand makes all of this jewellery herself. So I got these lovely earrings, because most of my earrings and most of my jewellery in general has got like horror stuff on it, but I do just want some nice little pieces just to wear, you know, if I go for a nice meal and I just don't feel like being my best horror self that night, and maybe I just want to look like a sort of regular lady. I don't know. But I got those earrings, and I also got this beautiful bracelet, and I just love it. I'm so obsessed with it. And I just thought that would, I mean, it's kind of gothy, so it's still got a little edge in there for my horror taste. It's a bit vampy, I think. But yeah, I love that, and she makes jewelry out of all sorts of things by herself, and I just loved it. So thank you, Diana. Now, here are things that were given to me to review. So firstly, I have 2 films, which is lovely because I don't normally get films. So Fraser Lee gave these. Lovely to meet Fraser in person. I've interviewed him before. So he gave me The Stay and On Edge and Red Lines. So nice, some little Blu-rays, so that'll be fun. So The Stay is a young woman checks into a secluded cottage and discovers that some vacations stay with you forever. It is a supernatural chiller from Edgar Allan Poe. Cool. So, cinematography by BAFTA Award nominated Alan Stewart. So that's cool. And then the other DVD, On Edge and Red Lines, it says, oh, this is about a dentist. Oh, God. Oh, this is going to be hideous. Cool. A scary story of a school detention gone horribly wrong, starring Doug Bradley, Pinhead, for those I'm sure you all know, with Kirsty Levitt and Leon Hanman. Cool. Yeah. So that sounds really good as well. Looking forward to getting to these. And now, books that were given to me for review. Oh, wait. Yeah, okay. So, The Shape of Guilt by Lisa Franson. I met we went to the Meet the Author Joe Hill little event. So, there's like 20 or so of us around a table talking to Joe Hill, which I will talk to you about in a minute. But yes, I was sat near Lisa and we were talking about that I review things and whatever, and she gave me this, and it sounds really good. So I will read you the back for those who are interested if you want to check it out. It says, Robert Bunny, a toy bunny rabbit, observes the steady decline of a family he so desperately wants to be a part of. His is the only voice of reason as he connects the crumbling mind of Deborah to her son Alex while she tries to save him from the very worst of himself. The Shape of Guilt charts a pattern of secrecy and trauma, one which culminates in a brutal and drastic action. Will Robert Bunny be able to save the ones he loves? So this sounds really cool. I can't wait to read it. So thank you very much, Lisa, for giving that to me. I will be reading that as soon as possible. Now, this one is so funny. So this was both a total surprise and also out of my reading comfort zone, which has inspired me to go a bit further out of my comfort zone, because as you all know, I pretty much only read horror. But this is The Sewer Guard by James Elworthy, who I was extremely surprised to see because I know James from real life. Now, I'm not implying that conventions and the horror book space and whatever isn't real life, but basically I realised how separate it feels. It feels like another world, like another home away from home kind of thing. I've never seen anybody there that I haven't met through writing or conventions, but James and I went to college together 22 years ago, and so I was very surprised to see him, and he handed me this book that he has written, and I'm going to assume that this is fantasy because it looks fantasy, and he said he writes fantasy. So the back says, due to his father's betrayal, the city guard relentlessly pursues William. He lived his entire life on the grimy streets befriending the other street urchins. Eventually, they capture William and his streak of luck ends. William and his friends have to choose between prison or becoming sewer guards. They all choose the sewer guard, expecting an easier time. They chose wrong. The sewer guards, along with their eccentric mage, face more challenges than just rats in the sewers. While adjusting to the sewers, William discovers information about his parents and their alleged betrayal, but who should he trust? Can William make it out alive from the treacherous, dim, wet, foul sewers of the city? So, yeah, very intrigued, very excited to read it. This is just going to be so much fun. Oh my god, I hope I like it. Can you imagine if I don't like it? I've been reunited with the collar trend after all this time. I'm sure I will like it. It sounded really good. So while we're on the subject of being out of my comfort zone, I picked up a few other books. So this one is also a fantasy, Call of the Blackwing by Tristan Gray. So this seems like it's contains all sorts of sort of betrayal and dark themes and things. The author did tell me that it has some kind of horror themes, but it is a fantasy. And I said, you know what, Tristan, I'm going to walk off and think about this and come back and buy it if I feel like I want to buy it, because I tend to pressure buy when I'm actually talking to somebody at their trading table, and I was really trying not to people please to the extent that I spend all of my money this time. But I did go back the next day and get it because it sounded really good, and I thought, you know what, I'm trying to branch out a little bit and not be so closed-minded in my reading. So I had another fantasy there, and then I also bought 8 Candles Burning Bright, a creepy Hanukkah tale, a story by Debbie Yansu Haddad. I'm really sorry about the pronunciation of your surname, Debbie. So this is a short story taking place during the 8 days of Hanukkah 1998 in a small town in rural USA. Rocked by impending loss, Noah and his grandparents are prepared for the malevolent forces stalking this unsuspecting town. So I'm really excited to read this because it occurred to me that I've never read any Hanukkah stories before, and this is the festive season, and for me that means Christmas, but that is not the only festive thing in the tail end of this year. And I would like to read more wildly, more life experiences, more celebrations and things that I've never been a part of. I would just like to read more widely in terms of like authors and what they're writing about. So I'm really excited to read that, and I am planning to, regardless of where I am with my TBR and everything, I am planning to read this in December at latest so I can review it for December. So I'm excited about that. Now, on the slight sort of fantasy out of my comfort zone edge, now I'm going to show you Joe Hill's new book, and it's called King Sorrow. And look at the size of this beast. And now, of course, I had to get it because I knew that I was going to meet Joe Hill, because I signed up for the Meet the Author Hour, and it was really nice. And I did take a couple of my favourites. I took Nosferatu and Horns for him to sign as well, because I thought I may never get another opportunity. So that was really nice. Happy Goat Horror came up in that hour, so I explained a little bit about that to him. And I have to say, they say don't meet your heroes, but oh my god, what a nice person. That was just such a thrill for me. He was so cool and personable and funny and just really charismatic, and everybody absolutely loved him, and everyone that got to speak to him was talking about it for days, because it's just so nice to meet an author so talented, and everyone wants to talk to them, and he was just so cool. So I had my photo taken with him as well, of course. I was very excited. And yes, so I popped up to get this book, and I also got this poster. What's the print? Sorry, let me just remind myself. Black Crow Books. So I got this poster from Black Crow Books when I bought it from them as well. Look how cool this is. It's so beautiful. I don't know where I'm going to put it, and you know, I'm normally a horror person, but this is a very beautiful picture, so it's going to have to go on the wall, regardless of the fact that it's fantasy and not very scary looking. Now, what is King Sorrow about, I hear you ask? I heard right from the Hill's mouth. So Joe said, my good friend Joe said that this is about a community that summons a dragon to help them with something. An ancient dragon, and it does help them, but now that it is summoned and here, it wants an annual living sacrifice. So this dragon is a dick, I guess. A few of my friends have started reading this already. I'm finishing up some review requests, and then I'm planning to read this probably over Christmas week. I'm so excited to get to it. It's the first thing that he's published in 9 years, I hear, so I'm sure it's amazing, and I'm really excited to get to it. And look, I already showed you, but look at how beautiful this book is. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So yes, it might take me, I don't know, like 4 days probably if I read it solidly, but I cannot wait. Now, here are some books that I have already read, but I wanted to get copies of for various reasons. Now, this is Exploring the Labyrinth Volume 1 by Kit Power, which I could have had a free or an at-cost copy of because I am the assistant at the indie press that published this book. However, I wanted to buy a full price copy because I have been supporting Kit and his writing since his first ever book, God Bomb, and I have bought a copy of every single thing he has ever released, and I'm not going to change that now just because I could have got the cheaper version. I wanted to give him like the proper sale, if that makes sense. So this is a collection of essays, 30 essays exploring the first 30 of Brian Keene's works. So this is a great book if you're a Brian Keene fan, a great book if you enjoy Kit Power's non-fiction writing, and it's just basically, it's not like an academic skewering or a really intense critique or anything. It's just an exploration of these books as Kit was reading them as a first-time reader. So it's a really interesting angle, and also a woman called Coco did the cover art, and it's just unbelievably good. The brief that she was given was to try and capture the feel of Brian's old leisure titles when leisure books were still around, and I think she did an amazing job. And then the other book that I had an ebook of this that I reviewed last year. I think it was last year, maybe it was this year, but it's Remedy by J.S. Brookala. And I got to meet her as well, and she was so lovely. And I went looking for the PS publishing table because this was the one book on my list that I told myself I was allowed to buy. Obviously that rule went awry a little bit, but this was on my list since I read it. I wanted to buy it from PS, and I was hoping to buy it somewhere that she would be. She came a long way to attend this convention, so it was amazing to get to actually meet her in person and you know, get my book signed in person. It's a brilliant book. It's about two different women who are attacked by a winged beast, and they sort of like rendered unconscious, they're hideously injured, and when they wake up they're in their own bodies. Or are they? They're not really in their own lives. Like it's kind of they wake up and they're like, whose house is this? But everyone knows them, and everyone just thinks it's some sort of like stress or PTSD or something from other things. But there is a support group for people who feel like they have woken up in alternate versions of themselves. So it's really unique. I've reviewed it. I loved it. Now, last few. Let me show you my last few purchases. So I didn't actually count these, I'll count them at the end. So I got two things from Matt Adcock, who I met for the first time at this convention. It was very nice. So I got the Hertfordshire Drownings, and these are all shorts, all with art, and they're all in-universe stories. And I don't want to say much more about it because I'm hoping to be talking about these in more detail at a later date. But yeah, he gave me this one, so thank you very much, Matt, as a sampling. And then I also got Complete Darkness. Oh, quirky, intelligent and cool, blurbed by Reverend Peter Laws. Now, I've met Peter at a horror con. He is an extremely interesting person, and I'm quite impressed to see a blurb by him on this cover. This cover, you probably can't see it maybe very well on my camera, but it's so beautiful. And yeah, Complete Darkness by Matt Adcock. And let's have a look, shall we? I believe this is a novelle. He did explain what this was about, but I talked a lot about books while I was away, so I can't quite remember. Yeah, this is a novel. Let's have a little look. In the near future, we map the elusive dark matter around us, only to find out that it is hell itself, and it is very real. Oh, God. As the satanic president Razor attempts to bring forward Armageddon to prevent humanity repenting, the fate of us all rests in the hands of Cleric 20, a hedonistic loner with a checkered past, and his robot sidekick, Gix or Jix. I'm not sure. An action-packed literary shock to the senses that mixes flights of comic fantasy with bouts of brutal violence. Mankind's only hope seems to be having a very bad day. This sounds amazing, and now I remember why I picked it up. Yeah, that sounds awesome. And then we've got an anthology from The Slab, Hiding Under the Leaves. I saw quite a lot of people pick this up. So this is edited by Donna Scott. Stories by Emma Coleman, Gary Cousins, Paul Crosby, Epiphany Farrell, Ren Graham, Rachel Henderson, Sam Hicks, Ivor K. Hill, Liam Hogan, Tom Johnstone, Fraser Lee, Emma Levin, Selena Locke, Tim Major. Oh God, I was scared. It was just fireworks. I've just been scared by Tim Major in another anthology, by the way. LJ McMenemy, hello. Mariska Pichette, sorry. Kev Rooney, Laura Jane Round, Pete W. Sutton, Matt Thompson, KB Wilson, and Thomas Wren. And yeah, so I know several of those authors, and lots of them will be new to me. And I had stopped buying, but then I went by the table there, and I was convinced by Donna and Fraser Lee, who was at that table, chatting away, to pick this up. And yeah, people are reviewing it very favourably, so I'm excited. And here are my last two. I was very excited. This one I've wanted for quite some time. This is Flame Tree Press's folk horror anthology, edited by Paul Kane and Maria O'Regan, who I talked to for the first time properly at this convention, so I was really, really excited. And I'm going to just read you the authors. Stories by Linda D. Addison, V. Castro, John Connolly, Neil Gaiman. This book came out before all of that, just to let you know. Helen Grant, Catherine Healy. Oh, also I will be skipping over Neil's story. I have no interest in reading anything by that douche ever again. Anyway, Catherine Healy, H.R. Lawrence, Alison Littlewood, who is great, Lee Murray, who is great, Adam Neville, who is great, Cavan Scott, Christina Singh, Benjamin Spada, Stephen Vogt, Jen Williams, Katie Young, and B. Zelkovich. So I had no idea which authors were in this. I just knew it was folk horror, and I also know that Flame Tree standards are extremely high, so I know it's going to be great. Also, my fellow reviewer friend Ben has recommended this to me. And then I also bought Black Friday, Short Stories from Africa, edited by Cheryl S. Toomey. Okay, so fantasy and science fiction from a powerful African voice. Oh, wait, maybe this isn't an anthology. Maybe this is a collection then. Yeah, this is a collection, sorry. Yeah, again, I've been trying just to read more voices that are different to my own. Oh, this looks so good. These books are so beautiful. Look at these. So, should we do the final count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 books and 2 DVDs, and some jewels. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this haul. Is there anything here that you're more interested in, that you maybe would like a link for or more information on, etc.? Let me know. Or if you want to know anything else about the convention, and if you've never been to one, if you're thinking of going to one, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm going to try to go to as many as possible next year. I had such a good time. I'm still recovering. I'm still exhausted. My back hurts from carrying my books around, and I had a headache for like 4 days, but it was totally worth it. It was so good. If I saw you there, so happy to have seen you. Can't wait for the next one, and I will see you with next week's videos, where we're probably going to start going into possibly some seasonal stuff, but maybe not. Who knows? I don't plan very far ahead, can you tell? Anyway, love you, bleed! Oh, my goodness.